Hey everyone, it's Mace1370. We're going to go over some RTA games today. Before we get into it though, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, please see the video description below for a link to my Discord. Okie doke, so I'm trying out a Belly and Ran pre-ban combination, and the opponent has pre-banned Hwayoung and Steny. So whenever you see the combination of Hwayoung and Steny as a pre-ban, just know that they're probably going to try to tank down and play a super long game. Right, because both of those picks really wreck bruiser players, or people that are trying to play very tanky. So they take Mediator Cowrick first. I'm going to take Piera, and then I take Apoc Ravi. I figured since Apoc Ravi is weak to both Hwayoung and Steny, she seemed fine here, and I just took the Piera so the opponent wouldn't, basically. You know, she's not particularly strong into Mediator Cowrick or anything. This just sets up my team with, you know, an attack buff and Aureus effect, so just kind of generically good. They take Crimson Armin, so already tanking down. And they're flashing Lionheart Sirmia, but I don't think they're going to take it, because Lionheart Sirmia doesn't really make much sense here. If I remember correctly, I think I queued into Sharian a few times in the previous season, and he had a similar pre-ban where he would pre-ban Steny and then take Green Violet first. So, you know, that would really slow kind of degen playstyle. Here's an Aras. So basically 2 tanks and a cleanser, no DPS yet. So it's probably going to be a solo DPS team from the opponent. So since they're probably on solo DPS, I don't think I have to worry about units like Politis, since I have an APOC and I could just ban out their other unit and then they would have solo Politis, so I think we can safely take Amelia here. If they take a different unit like Green Celine, we could just not press our skills on Amelia and then just DPS into her, so I don't think they can really take reactionary units to Amelia. She'll cycle really fast, and if they ban either her or Piera, we'll have an attack buff on our team either way to help us break through the tanks. Then I take Landy. I think Landy's okay here because, for one, if the opponent takes Landy here, that could put me in a pickle. I really didn't want them to take Landy, so I wanted to deny it to them. Also, I think Landy's pretty good into Mediator Cowrick, and she provides a DPS threat that can stealth, you know, with Guiding Light, and can just put out huge amounts of pressure once they get their buffs going, and that'll help, you know, tank bust the team. So they respond with Milim and Meru, so I think we have to ban out the Milim here, because they're going to leave Landy in. They just took 2 fire units, and we're just going to have to deal with solo DPS Meru. So we're just going to tunnel into the Meru. Since our game plan is to do that, we'll take Blue Kisei, and I assume Blue Kisei is getting banned out here, and I think that'll put me in a good spot. You know, even if this is a tanky Meru, I think Meru's going to have a pretty hard time killing Apocalypse Ravi. Maybe with defense breaks from Adventure Ross, but we have Amelia to cleanse those off, so I think we're okay here. Depending on how the procs and stuff go, our Landy could be deado. We can hold our skill 2 from Piera here. We don't want to strip off the buffs anyways, we want to give stacks to our Landy. And we wouldn't completely remove the shield in either case. So I could boost up Landy, but she's already taken a turn, so I'll boost up Aravi instead and maximize my CR gain. And this way, if we proc magic for friends, my Landy will be able to re-stealth. And we do indeed do that, so there's the magic for friends. And it actually get cut here by Mediator Cowrick with his Warhorn. So he's going to skill 3 and put up attack buff. But that's going to give us a full stack on Landy. I thought he would just S2 onto Landy, to be honest. So I think that's a bit of a misplay. I think he's assuming he's just going to be able to break Landy out of stealth with Meru and then S2 her. Kind of awkward timing on Crimson Armin there for the opponent. Adventure Ras puts up defense buff, so the enemy is fully buffed. That's going to knock our Landy out of stealth again. We can put shield up. I think I had an option on Amelia to just S3 and put shield up rather than boosting Apoc, and that would have helped keep Landy in stealth. Something to consider of. That might have been an okay play. So we could S2 with Piera here, but I don't think it's worth it because we're not going to fully strip their buffs off yet. I think we want to wait one more cycle, and then we can do that. Alright, so there's the S2 onto Landy, which is unfortunate. That's going to take, you know, away her attack buff and give her attack down. We're just going to continue tunneling into Marrow. I have a feeling our Landy's going to die. So he S2s to get the double proc. Guardian Ice Crystal I think is going to save us here. And we're going to get another skill 3 from Landy. Guardian Ice Crystal and Escort from Piera. Because our Landy's pretty fast and pretty squishy. Alright, I think we can just boost Landy up and do it again. Yep. So this is giving our team like a huge amount of CR. And then Landy can go back into stealth. Now we can skill 2 on Piera to remove those buffs that we've gotten the value out of Landy. So we can get rid of the buffs now. And let's see, we have an option here. We could try to stun Adventure Ras and deny the S2, or we could stun the Marrow and just deny her damage. I think we could also just go into stealth. So I guess we're just going to do that. Maybe that was a little bit risky because Amelia is on her off turn here, I think. I don't want to... I debated about soul burning there with APOC to get the first Marrow life, but I didn't want to do that because right now Marrow is buff blocked. I think this is also a mistake on the opponent. He goes into Amelia, but luckily he splashes into Landy, so that was unfortunate for us. But I think he should have gone into APOC Ravi to get the defense break, because this is our dead turn on Amelia. So the defense break would have stuck. I think that was a misplay. Dual attack, that kind of stinks. Marrow is about to take a turn. So I think we'll just go for the stun on Aras, and I guess we fish and miss. I think now we can just go for the kill. I mean, I could slow play this even more, but I think if we go for the kill, we just bring back Landy now. And that's fine. It's kind of, remiss of me. I don't want to take away that buff block from Archdemon Mercedes, but I think we can just try to finish her off. Luckily, we get a nice crit there from Landy, so that helps. And now we have our boost again from Amelia, so we can boost up probably APOC. I guess Carmen still has her S3, so that's a little worrisome. Okay, he's going to go into the Landy. He hits APOC, and that's going to push her up. And I think this is the problematic part for him here. He can't do anything without pushing APOC Ravi up, and then she's just going to finish Marrow off. And then she heals, though, which is really awkward. So this is a lifesteal Mercedes, but we're able to soul burn and just finish her off. Just not tanky enough, even with Carmen, so that's game. Alright, let's get right into the next game. This time the opponent has pre-banned AOL and Bellion.
I'll fight you.
They take a first pick of Hwyong. We can respond with Piera and Amelia. I've been drafting a ton of Amelia lately. She is absurdly strong with the Soul Weaver buff. Diane is also really good. Both of them are just really strong heroes, so it's almost never wrong to take them early. They take Rimuru and Designer Lilibet. So I wasn't really sure what to take here. I think I mess up though. So AOL is pre-banned, so I think Landy is a fairly easy pick. However, I wasn't really thinking of Landy at first. I was thinking of taking APOC Ravi, but I don't think I really needed to do that. My thought was, oh, APOC is good into Designer Lilibet. She's like a tanky bruiser that, can kind of 1v1 her. But, they have a Rimmer and a Hwyong, so that's a lot of burst. They can potentially burst the APOC down, and it doesn't really give me that advantage. I think I need to kind of take control of the draft. A Landy would be good for that because she'd go before the rest of this team, or the team so far, presumably, from the opponent. And if I brought a book with her here, then I could take a book last, and then I would reliably have a burn for her, and they would probably have to burn, or they'd probably have to ban Landy. And this would all be enabled because of the AOL pre-ban, right? I don't have to worry about AOL here. But instead I take APOC and Landy, so this was a mistake. I screwed myself here. That was a bad pick. I should have taken Spectre, Tenebria, and Landy, and then we could have last picked Ida. They take Conquer Lilius. Another problem too is that if I'm not able to soul burn Landy, then I can just do one S3 and that doesn't kill anyone. It boosts their Rimuru, you know, and then he can one-shot something, and then Dilibet can knock Landy out of stealth, and then, you know, I can just get really screwed. And then he takes Mediator Cowrick, so I just take Ida last here, but it's just going to get banned, and then I'm just going to die because I don't have a book for Landy. So that was a big mistake. I think I had won this draft if I had just taken Spectre Tenebria in the third slot. I suppose he could have picked differently for the 4-5, but he didn't really have any speed leads at that point, and I would have had Amelia, Piera, and Landy all faster than his team, so I think it would have been hard for him to take first turn for me, and then I think I could have just blown him up. I guess he could have taken Conqueror and Politis. Then I could have still just taken Ida, and I could have just banned Politis, and I think it would have been fine. So here we can't S2 because of the Dilibet, so we'll just S3. Now I have to use a Amelia skill, I guess. Honestly, actually, I think S3 in here is the play. Because that would give a barrier for Landy, and then she could potentially stay in stealth. So I actually screwed up twice here. Yeah, I should have... I guess Rimmer probably would have broken the barrier, so it wouldn't matter. I didn't want to give her barrier because I was afraid he was going to steal it. But if he steals that, that means I would still have some barrier left. Either way, I think it was dead, so it doesn't really matter. Because you see Rimmer is going to come here, and now he's going to defense break my team, and then I'm just going to die. And he almost one-shots Amelia to boot. Designer Lilibet is going to be able to skill through here, and this will knock Landy out of stealth, and honestly probably just kill her because she's defense broken. Nope, she barely lives, but Huayang can do the job. Amelia goes down, and that'll kill Landy, and now we have a defense broken APOC, and his whole team is like totally fine. Our Pier is also reset, so she can't strip the buffs.
I'm sensing corrupt energy. It is my job.
So we are Omega dead.
To restore balance.
It's my time to shine.
This guy bans the same thing I do, so mad respect. He gets first pick and he takes Conquer Lilius. So I think when the opponent does this and you have access to Piera, Piera's a good response. She's generally faster than Conquer Lilius and can put buff block on the entire enemy team so that they don't get the Vigor buff. And then I guess we just take Amelia so he doesn't take it. Seems pretty reasonable to me. I was debating about taking APOC Ravi. My reason for debating that is because one unit that's pretty good in Conquer Lilius is Lionheart Surmia, but she's bad into APOC, so you kind of want Lionheart along with APOC so that they can't take the APOC, but I wasn't really sure what my opponent was doing, and I definitely didn't want them to have access to Amelia along with Lilius because those are two really high value aggressive heroes, and I feel like it would put me on the back foot if they had both. So they take Trozet and Stenny, so it looks like they're slowing down. We can take Huayang. She's a really good tank buster. And with the Amelia, it's going to be really hard for the opponent to deny me a Huayong turn in the beginning. I think Politis could be okay here. I don't want to take APOC along with Huayong, because if you take both of those together, it's kind of a bad combo in my opinion. You're susceptible to things like Arya, Stenny's very good into it, and they already have Stenny. So yeah, I think just some sort of like disruption thing here is fine, like Politis. I'm not really sure what else to take. I wanted something to give me a little reach for the Spectre.
No one can hide from the light of the full moon.
They take Kisei. I think Kisei's a little suspect here. We have Amelia and we have Pyrrha, so we have two units that are very possibly faster than Kisei. I mean, like, Pyrrha definitely is, but most people are running their Amelias at like 280, 290, so unless that's like a 290 Kisei, which there are not many of those around, then I think it's a little sus. They take APOC. Maybe they just weren't sure what else to take. I feel like Landy might have been okay, and then they just ban out Pyrrha. But then I guess I take Milim, and that's a problem. We can just take Ida here. I think she's fine. Because we have both Pyrrha and Amelia, like, Ida's pretty much a must ban, I think. And then I think we just want to ban out the mitigation. Yeah, I think we just ban out mitigation. Okay, yeah, so they ban out the Ida, like we suspected. So we're going to get a turn here with Huayong, and we're going to probably be able to do a lot of damage with her, since they don't have Mit, and she's going to have attack buff. So yeah, both of our Amelia and Pyrrha are going to be able to go first here, so we can just skill 2. This will put a buff block, and then we can skill 3 with Pyrrha. Our Amelia is faster, so I think she will get the turn.
Goblet of Oak. Heed my call.
I guess it could have been bad if the Conqueror went before our Amelia and then they S1'd into the Politis and killed her. They'd have to probably pull Kisei to kill, because we have the escort from Huayong, but it would have been close. Here we just soul burn, and we're going to do as much damage as we can to this APOC, because the APOC is probably going to be forced to skill 3 next turn, and I don't want her to be in a position to stabilize, so now we can just take out the Kisei. That's a dead Kisei.
You wish to live. This is it. Don't tell
Okay, yeah, so they go into the Politis. She gets saved, and then she cuts, so I guess that's lucky, but it makes sense. Like, I think our Politis would probably be faster than APOC, although we did CR boost the APOC there with the Huayong. So we take out the Stenny.
Life ends here. Enjoy the pain.
He can go into the Politis, but I don't think it should matter. I guess if he brought back Kisei, that could be kind of scary. He can soul burn here with Stenny, so maybe Politis was a bad pick. Politis didn't seem to do a whole lot. I mean, she did kill the Stenny, but I don't know how reliably we cut the APOC. Who could I have taken other than Politis? I could have taken Rimuru, maybe? Rimuru might have been okay. Here we just stun the Conqueror so she doesn't get a turn. And then we finish off the APOC, because we don't want her to stabilize, right, and start healing and stuff. Okay, APOC's down. And this should be game, because now we can boost Huayong and just kill Lilius. And there's no way Spectre is going to solo the 3 of my heroes.
Are you my next target?
Okay, that's game.
Let's just fight again. 'Cause, 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 again. '
Okay, we've run into another player who pre-bans Steny and Huayong, so a lot of D-Gen players out there today, kind of unfortunate. First pick's Mediator Kauruk, that seems to be a trend. So I was thinking about this, and I guess if like I'm going to play it against somebody who's going slow, unless I want to go really slow myself, I think Conqueror Lilius might be better here. I guess then they could pick Piera in response, but I don't really expect these pre-bans from somebody who has like a really fast Piera. I don't know. So I'm going to try Conquer Lilius here, and then we can maybe take Amelia with her. I'm debating about taking Piera. I mean, I think Piera's okay too. Conquer Lilius provides more offensive pressure though. So yeah, I think Conquer's fine, and then we can just take Amelia along with her. These pre-bans are pretty obnoxious though, because it's kind of like, what DPS do you even take here with these two pre-ban? I mean, I guess kind of the world's your oyster, but when they take things like Mediator Kauruk, like a lot of bruisers are shut down, and then they're second picking a Solitaria into a Archdemon Mercedes, so they're going heavy debuffs. I'm aware I am in for a wild ride at this point. So because they're picking debuffs, and these units also have extra attacks, we can take Lionheart. Sirmia is good here. She's going to be, I think, really good into both of the heroes. Now, granted, she could get sealed, and then she won't proc her passive and cleanse, but we have Amelia, so Amelia can cleanse her, at least every so often, right? So hopefully she won't get sealed the entire game. And I think since they've taken 2 debuff units, we have to take another cleanser here, or we're just going to get our, Amelia banned, and then we're just going to get controlled. So I'll take Designer Lilibet here. She's a hero that reliably cleanses herself. Again, she could just get sealed, but, ideally we have kind of redundant cleansers in our drafts to prevent everyone getting locked down by seal. They take AOL, so that's a 3rd debuffer, so it's just full debuffs basically from the enemy team along with a Mediator. And then they flash an Arya. I really hope they don't pick Arya. Arya would be bad news. Although Arya does have a 2nd attack, which would activate Lionheart. So maybe they're afraid to take Arya for that reason. I still think Arya could be okay. It'd be hard to take Rimmer because of both Angel of Light and Solitaria. So I think Arya could have been fine there. They take Inferno Kawazu, which is kind of interesting. So we need another cleanser of some sort. Honestly, I think... So I take Rowana because I feel like that's kind of cheeky into Solitaria. You get a lot of heals and CR boosts. I think Rowana was okay. But actually, I think the pick was probably Destina. Because Destina has a revive, right? So I want to ban Archdemon here, because the seal can really screw me. Like, if my other guys get controlled and then, like, Lionheart or Dilibet gets sealed, that's bad news. Also, my draft is kind of low damage as well. Like, I assume he's going to ban out Dilibet or Lionheart here, and I'm just going to have one. And if that's the case, I'm going to have a hard time killing Archdemon, because she's going to be pretty tanky, right? So I feel like I have to ban her. Now, Rowana has the revive buff, but that doesn't work if they die before she gives it to them, and the opponent has a bunch of strippers, so... I think Destina was probably a better pick here for 2nd. Or for the last pick. It would give me insurance in case they're able to just one-shot my Dilibet, and Inferno Kawazu is potentially capable of that. So I wanted to get a shield up. I think this was a mistake, though. I think I should have just S1'd into Kawazu. We just need to kill him. Because once he's dead, we just win, right? So there's no reason to do this S2. We should have just S1'd into Kawazu. If we pulled Dilibet, that'd be an auto-win, basically. I boost Dilibet up here. So I debate about skill 3'ing. It would potentially reset him. And look at that. Skill 1 takes him to half health. So if we had S1'd with Conquer, I think he would have just died, even if we pulled somebody else. Or it would have been very close.
If you're scared, run. With my authority as mediator, I will
Now we haven't activated Kawazu. I guess that my concern with S3 in there is, so you could reset his skills a turn. However, he would then get Vigor buff, so he would be very scary if like he 15%ed. So I thought it was safer to just not do that.
The weak have no place in this world. How dare you?
Alright, so here comes Kawazu. So it's basically just all down to this. He does have attack buff. He lands both burns and he detonates, so he doesn't quite kill.
allow me.
So yeah, that's very scary.
You couldn't beat me in a million years.
We can S1 Kawazu again. We can S1 him again and heal our designer a little bit, a teeny bit.
Obey if you
And I think we're okay now that we kill Kawazu here. Yeah, so that was like 15. That was like 2k damage. I guess it wouldn't have killed him
Choice.
either way.
This is just
So now the question is, if he's able to kill
the light.
designer Lilibet, could he actually win this draft?
Free you from
I don't
despair.
know if he could, to be honest. I mean, it would go to pretty late frenzy. It would be obnoxious, don't get me wrong. But we do have Rowana, so we have things healing our team, and he doesn't heal.
Do anything for her.
It would be kind of rough. I guess we'd kill AOL because she's probably the next squishiest. Or maybe we just go straight into Hand Guy and try to get him off the table, because he's kind of scary. But yeah, Destina would have been a much better pick, like I said. Because like, let's say they did finish off Kawazu, she could just skill 3 and bring back Designer Lilibet, and I think once Kawazu uses his skill 3, you know, we'd be able to heal back up Lilibet enough to stabilize.
With that stupid pose.
If you're scared, run.
One concern I had with Destina was that after the first couple turns, you know, her ER buff would go away, and then she would be susceptible to getting controlled, because I assume these units all have very high effectiveness, but
I need some me time.
I think it still would have been safer overall to take her instead of Rowana. At this point, I think we're getting roped a little bit, because I feel like there's literally zero way the opponent can win. Like, our designer Lilibet is just going to keep cleansing herself and giving herself defense buff, and they do no damage, so they can't really shut off our Lilibet from turn cycling and, you know, just taking the enemy team down, you know, one attack at a time.
I never fight a losing battle. In this distorted world, I will write new rules.
Those clothes deserve better.
We can boost up Lilibet to do it again. Yeah, they concede. That's game.
You dare stop me?
Well, I guess a lot of people on the ladder are pre-banning Ran and Bellion right now, because I keep running into people doing that. It's that and Huayong and Steny. I take Pyrrha first, they take AOL and Steny. So this is an interesting opener. I assume they're going to try to do something aggressive. Like, AOL and Steny is a good combo. You know, you have a lot of flexibility. I suppose you could flex into like a slower bruiser team if you wanted. But it's nice because you need AoE to get to Steny, right? But if you use AoE, it's going to give you skill null from AOL, so they synergize pretty well together. I think about, let's see, I think about APOC here. APOC Ravi is good into AOL. Mediator Cowrick is also good. Like, he can just cleanse away whatever she does. I debate about APOC. I think APOC is fine.
I'll take
This way, if they
your
ban Mediator, I have another plan into AOL. The tricky thing with AOL is, like, you kind of have to decide if you want to ban her or if you want to craft your entire team around dealing with her. Like, she's that strong. And the way people who draft with AOL do it well is they pick AOL and then they kind of create a team that works well against the thing that works well against AOL, if that makes sense. So they've clearly switched into like an aggressive single target cleave setup with both Watcher Shuri, and Assassin Coley. So we're going to take our Acid. They do have an imprint. I debate about taking an imprint here. Like, I guess I could take Green Sid, but that's a little awkward. Since my Green Sid's not that fast. Maybe if my Green Sid was fast, I'd consider it. I think about Arby, maybe. He could be okay. But they have Spectre, so they can just save Arby for the end and then just double Soul Burn on him and then he's dead. I think about Bloodbraid Karen. She has a good amount of ER, but honestly, I don't know how much effectiveness this AOL has, and I don't think she has enough ER to tempt an AOL. I think she's at like 210% ER, and if there's a lot of AOLs out there running around with like 200 effectiveness, so I don't think BBK is okay right here. If I had her on Bastion, then she'd be probably 300 or close to, and then that might be safer, but they pick Arya, which is kind of interesting. I think we have to ban it. We would have a hard time breaking through that, I think. I really wanted to ban out that Watcher Shuri, though. So, our Green Armin doesn't really care about AOL so much. I guess she could proc Skill Null if she counters, which is kind of annoying. But she should do a decent amount of damage. We get the first turn here, which we pretty much needed. So this might have just been a coin flip if that was like a 300 speed Coley.
Well, I'm left with no choice.
So they push back Hand Guy. That triggers a counter from Garmin. We do get a stun, but then AOL cleanses. So this is my first time drafting Garmin. She may not be the best into AOL. So Garmin probably a bad pick here. I mean, we just needed to outspeed with Sid, right? So he goes for the APOC, chunks her by half. We can just take the skill off Watcher. We have to kill him next. Now Spectre goes. So proof on APOC is pretty strong. They also don't have attack buff, which is really nice. They're going to S3 here. This doesn't matter if it stuns or not, because we have Cowrick, he's just going to cleanse. We get the resist. So that's game. Alright, thanks for watching.